would like nothing better than to bring home a win against his former teammates. And IHL All-Star Rob Brown hopes to play himself back into a position with the Los Angeles Kings. All these stories and more are next as the Phoenix Roadrunners and the Minnesota Moose face off on Prime Network. Live from the Civic Center here in St. Paul, Minnesota. Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Tennell. Welcome to our first broadcast this season of International Hockey League play right here on Prime. Got a good one for you tonight with the Roadrunners and the Minnesota Moose. Bringing in part of our broadcast team tonight, former IHL center with the San Diego Gulls, Keith Gretzky. Keith, I'm going to let you analyze the offense of both teams, and we've got some offensive players here to show everybody at home. First, for the Phoenix Roadrunners, a best 1-2 punch in the league. Number 1 scorer, Yannick Perreault. Number 2 scorer in the league, Rob Brown. What about Perreault?
Well, you look at Perreault, he's got 48 goals this year. Just an unbelievable goal scorer. He knows how to put the puck in the net. He's got a niche around the net. You see on the video here, he just plugs to the net and buries the puck.
Rob Brown is a great player to be with. Yannick Perreault, great passer and a great veteran.
Well, he can score goals, and the leadership he brings to a hockey club is so valuable. The biggest thing is he can pass the puck so well.
Now, the Minnesota Moose is an independent club in the International Hockey League, and they have a couple of veteran players that lead them in scoring. Stefan Moran is the leading scorer for Minnesota. Dan Curry, a lot of veteran experience there. What about Moran?
Well, Moran's playing the NHL with Vancouver and Quebec. He just brings a lot of leadership. He can score goals. With Dan Curry, I mean, what can you say about the two? Just a great two players right on the Minnesota Moose. Curry's going to be pumped up for this game tonight, playing against his old teammates. It's going to be exciting.
Should be an exciting game offensively between Phoenix and Minnesota, but what about the defense? Well, we'll bring in another part of our broadcast team, Mario Goose Goslin, former goaltender in the National Hockey League, to analyze the goaltenders tonight, and we will do that right after this timeout.
Nothing like excitement on ice, especially smooth, refreshing Bud Ice, the official beer of the IHL.
It's over. You can put this one on ice.
Inside every one of us is an athlete with a thirst for the game going on around us. It's life, and if you play hard at it, you get thirsty. That's why we make Gatorade. Hey, life is a sport. Drink it up.
The face-off between the Phoenix Roadrunners and the Minnesota Moose will be coming up shortly here at the Civic Center in St. Paul. As I promised, former NHL, IHL goaltender Mario Goose Goslin joining us on our broadcast tonight. Goose, I'm going to let you analyze the goaltending. It should be Tom Draper in nets for Minnesota tonight against the veteran Mike O'Neill. Let's talk first about Draper in Minnesota.
Well, Draper is a good goaltender, like you said. He's got NHL experience, playing the IHL for many years. He's a stand-up goaltender. They will come out, cut the angle. He's going to use his stick a lot, poke check, but he's a good, solid player. Every night he comes out, he plays well.
Well, ever since Mike O'Neill was sent to Phoenix from the Winnipeg organization, O'Neill has had a great time. What type of a goaltender is he?
Well, he's a smaller goaltender. He plays well. He's really, really fast. I mean, you can look at his number, 4-0-1, 2 goals against average. He's been playing so well for Phoenix. He's quick, he's got a great glove. He's a good skater. He moves around his net really well. So he cuts the angle well. He's very, very exciting players to watch.
These teams played here last night. Phoenix won it in the shootout by a score of 2-1. Draper and O'Neill were in nets. They had great matchup last night. We look for the same tonight. We look forward to your comments on the broadcast, Mario. Also on our broadcast tonight is Bud Wilkinson. Bud?
Well, David, tonight we're going to talk about the IHL, major expansion in the league this year into cities like Chicago and Detroit, also here in Minnesota with Major League fan acceptance. We're going to be talking to Greg Elliott of the International Hockey League about that and about future expansion plans. Between periods tonight, we're going to track down the coaches of the two teams, Frank Serratori of the Minnesota Moose and Rob Laird of the Phoenix Roadrunners. Now, speaking of the Moose, I want you to meet somebody. This guy is Mickey Moose, the team mascot for the Minnesota Moose. He has a smile on his face tonight for one good reason. This week, the Hockey News has named the Moose the best logo in hockey in the International Hockey League and elsewhere, so he's smiling tonight. So tonight we will talk Moose merchandise and something called the Moose Shopping Network, whatever that is. And Dave, tonight during the game, I'll be roaming the stands to check out what the fans are up to.
All right, bud. We've got a great show planned for you tonight, right here on Prime, as the Phoenix Roadrunners get set to take on the Minnesota Moose. Stay with us. The face-off comes up right after this timeout.
We never used to exercise. We didn't have time.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red bursting air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
That is the Woodbury High School here from St. Paul, Minnesota, doing the national anthem here in the Civic Center, the Roadrunners and the Minnesota Moose. IHL Hockey on Prime is brought to you by Gatorade. The Gatorade Company reminds you, if you're not standing on the sidelines, you're going to get thirsty. Life is a sport. Drink it up. Rob Laird, the coach of the Phoenix Roadrunners, pacing behind the Roadrunner bench, waiting to get things started. And on the other side, that is Coach Frank Serratori of the Minnesota Moose. Well, the introductions here tonight, they turn the lights out, and then they have the antlers come out. Before the face-off tonight, let's go down to our colleague, Bud Wilkinson. Bud?
Well, David, the St. Paul Civic Center has quite a history. You might remember this logo from the WHA days, the Minnesota Fighting Saints. Thad Keller wearing the jersey here tonight. Besides being the home of the Fighting Saints back in the 70s, this building is used for the Minnesota State Hockey Championships. Over a 3-day period, they'll put about 100,000 people in this building for high school hockey alone.
Wow. I do remember this building a lot. This building used to have the plexiglass boards, and you could see through them. They just took them out about a year ago. Well, the Runners lead this series, 3 games, winning 3 out of 4 games, and they have won both games here at the Civic Center. Last night's game was a shootout win. Dennis LaRue is our referee to get it started. Sean Williams steps into the circle against Nicholas Vachon of the Phoenix Roadrunners, and the draw will go to the Minnesota Moose. The Moose wearing their home white uniforms with black pants, silver trim, and the Phoenix Roadrunners in their traditional road blue uniforms with white and silver trim as we get it started here in the first period of play. The puck loose, neutral ice, dumped down into the Roadrunner zone. Phoenix has been plagued by injuries as of late, and just today, lost defensemen Chris Snell and Rob Cowie called up to the Los Angeles Kings, and they will suit up and play tomorrow night in Los Angeles. Roadrunners have Rob Brown out there now with Nedomansky as back comes Minnesota with Gavin taking it in. Drop pass, Snuggerud will fire it on. Snuggerud with a lot of experience on this Minnesota Moose club tried to center it, and that pass went away from everybody, and it'll be Draper out of the net to stop it and give it off for his defense. You'll notice some extra area to work in behind the nets. And there is some extra area, usually 11 feet. There's something like 14 feet back there. We'll tell you more about as our broadcast goes on. We'll get the comments from Mario Kuskoslin about that, how that affects the goaltenders. Here's Rob Brown, second in the league in scoring, second in assists, works his way around one player, shot, and Draper with a save. Bounced off the boards by Brill. Brill's going to go get it in the corner for the Moose. He's hounded there by Rob Brown, and now Yannick Perreault. Snuggerud comes in to help out, and Brill will clear it back to center ice. Steve Wilson, veteran defenseman, played in the East Coast Hockey League, played in the IHL before that. Back with the Phoenix Roadrunners this season. And now, Stefan Moran, leading scorer. for the Minnesota Moose will work at the center and give it to Dan Curry. We talked about Curry and Moran a lot in our pregame show. Now fed across by Dave Christian. Hakstol's going to take it deep. Dave Hakstol, veteran defenseman. Along the boards, near side. Picked off here by Miller in a shot and caught by O'Neill. And that'll stop play. You get a good look at Roadrunner goaltender Mike O'Neill. Tom Draper at the other end of the ice. Mario, we talked a little bit about that extra area behind the net. How does that affect a goaltender when you've got to work with 14 feet instead of 11?
Well, it's not used to that. Every time they dump the puck, it's a reflex. You go behind the net to stop the puck for your defenseman. With 4 more feet, most of the time you're going to get late to get to the puck. And that's when, your defenseman expect you to stop the puck. If you don't do so, well, everything fall apart and you start running around your own zone.
I would imagine, Keith Gretzky, that the forwards love that extra area back there. Huh?
Oh, especially Perreault and Brown. Those two guys out there, they're going to have a field day back there. A lot of room to maneuver behind there and make great plays.
Referee tonight, as I told you, is Dennis LaRue, veteran referee, both in the National Hockey League and here in the IHL. John Elvey, along with Larry Ganrowski, are the linesmen here in this building tonight. You saw Todd Hawkins go off the ice. It looked like maybe he took a stick right above the eye a little bit, or maybe a collision, and they were tending a wound there, taking him down into the dressing room. We'll watch to see if Hawkins comes back out, as the Moose will handle it in their own zone. Here in the first period, runners will intercept, turnover, shot wide of the left post. That was a good opportunity by Dan Bilesma. Now Dave Tomlinson trying to work it down for Phoenix, sends it back behind the Minnesota net. Draper stopping it there. Dan Curry will try and clear, can't, and picked off now by the defense, Chris Hines. Sending it off the far boards, met by Nicholas Vachon. Brad Miller will pick it up. One of 2 Millers playing on defense for Minnesota, Brad and Chris. And now the Moose will control it in their own end. No score here in this first period of play. 17-15 remaining in the first period. Dropped into the Roadrunner end. Good defensive play brought out by Brian Straub, and then his pass went off a skate. Moran back into the Roadrunner zone. Moran sends it across ice into the slot. Taken away, Brian Chapman. Knocked away from him. 1 player trip. Runners, it'll pop up into the air and over the plexiglass and out of play. Runners doing a pretty good job right here, Mario, of stacking things up in front of the Roadrunner net to help out Mike O'Neill.
What's one thing that the Roadrunners were doing is playing better defensively lately.
Well, Bud Wilkinson has a report on Hawkins as we saw him go off the ice. Bud, what do you have?
Well, Dave, just back from the dressing room, Todd Hawkins sustained a gash on his right eyelid. Looks like it's going to take a couple of stitches, but he'll be back shortly.
Face-off, circle to the right of Mike O'Neill. On the Roadrunner end. Phoenix Roadrunners have been in the International Hockey League since the 1989-90 season. They won their 30th game of the year last night. Pass out in front, O'Neill with a save. Now knocked away by Olim. Olim turns around, shoots towards O'Neill, rebound! Right out on the corner at the right post, and O'Neill finally finds it and then gobbles it up. Good opportunity there for Ivan Korovon.
Now we talked about Mike O'Neill before the game. He's a quick goaltender. He will make the first save. It will be right back up and be in position to stop the second one. See the first save, puck will go to the blue line. Make another save. The puck will go on the right side. He's back up and he's there to make the save.
Korovon had that opportunity, but then Sean Williams also coming in to help out. And Williams, Keith, is that veteran with that veteran experience.
Well, he has the experience around the net. He knows what to do. But a great play there by Justin Hawkins to come in and take him out of the play.
Sean Williams played in the Chicago Blackhawk organization for many years. Signed here as a free agent. The Minnesota Moose, an independent club in the International League. We're going to get an icing call here on Phoenix. Hakstol touching up behind the Minnesota net, and that'll bring it back into the Roadrunner end with 16:23 remaining in this first period. No score. Brian McKee, as you're looking at there. Brian McKee won the Governor's Trophy in the International League several years ago as the best defenseman in the International Hockey League. Started the season in Houston and then was sent to Saginaw, the Colonial League, and now getting a second chance in the eye here with the Phoenix Roadrunners. Draw will come to Phoenix, and Jeff Chevalier, a rookie, sending it around to Rob Brown. Knocked down, and here's Yannick Perreault breaking out. Perreault over the blue line, winds up. Perreault now will take the shot and Draper the save. Gavin gathers up the rebound and will bring it to center. Lou Gavin into the Roadrunner end, stops, checked into the boards, loose, taken away, Chris Miller. Miller wanted to center it. Gavin will pick it up. Minnesota in the Roadrunner end. Gavin making his move into the slot. Drop past Chris Miller. Couldn't control it. And now Phoenix will clear. Yannick Perreault dumping it back to neutral ice. Nedomansky takes it away. Phoenix 2-on-0. Here's Brown. He'll shoot. Draper with a big save. Phoenix ended up with a 2-on-0 situation. Now Nedomansky taken away by Hakstol. Hakstol at center ice. Hakstol into the Roadrunner zone. Stops, shot. O'Neill save. Can't find it. And the puck is knocked away. Great defensive play by Yannick Perreault to help out. The pass out to the blue line. Shot by Brad Miller. And it's wide on the left post. These teams got into a wild one in the third period last night, hitting the post a total of 6 times. 3 for each team. Rob Brown shot and Draper with another great save. Both these goaltenders, excellent goaltenders. Here is Tomlinson's shot, and Draper knocks this down. Brown, Tomlinson, pass out in front, cleared away by the Moose. Great action in the Minnesota end. Ryan Straub back to get it for Phoenix. Straub ahead, neutral ice. Here's Nicholas Vachon. Nicholas Vachon feeds it right out in front. Draper got a stick on that before anybody else could touch it. And Curry into the middle. Curry over the Roadrunner blue line. Curry hounded by Brian Straub, taken into the boards. Veteran defenseman Straub checking Curry. Now Tomlinson taking his man out. That's Olin. Back out to the blue line. Minnesota has it in the Roadrunner zone. Kolstad feeding it over to the far side. Now shot high up over the net, off the plexiglass. And Phoenix rushes it out of their own end. Dan Bilesma on the right wing. Bilesma into the zone. Bilesma feeds it out in front. Shot, score by Dave Tomlinson. Tomlinson puts Phoenix up 1-0 in a game going back and forth here in the first period of play. 14-14 remaining in the first period. So the goal coming at 5:46 of the first period. Keith, take a look at this.
There's a great play by Bilesma. You watch him. He protects the puck. He goes around the defense. He uses his body to protect the puck. Tries to come back up front. Tomlinson's there, breaking towards the net. Gets the rebound.
Got a little bit of a break there too, Goose, when the puck hit the side of the net.
Yeah, it's tough play for a goaltender when you hit the side of the puck. You want to poke check, but you don't know where the puck will rebound off the net, and he got cut on this play.
Well, Bilesma is going to get one of the assists for sure, and Phoenix has opened a 1-0 lead. These teams each scored a goal in regulation last night, but they are capable of much more than that. Now a penalty coming up on Minnesota is an obvious cross-check by Olim. As the runners were going to take the shot, Sean Brown was going to take the shot, and it's going to be a cross-checking penalty. So we'll take a break here and come back with a Roadrunner power play, and the runners lead it 1-0.
Some of the world's most advanced safety innovations are now available in this handsome carrying case. The new 960 from Volvo, a Consumer's Digest Best Buy.
Brewing beer has been a topic of conversation around my family's house since I can remember. So believe me, I know you might think about drinking before you're 21. But do us and yourself a favor. Please don't. We'll wait for your business.
The Phoenix Roadrunners have taken a 1-0 lead in this hockey game against the Minnesota Moose on that man's goal. Dave Tomlinson's 19th of the year, assisted by this man, Dan Bilesma. Off the side of the net, Tomlinson coming in front, up into the upper left-hand corner. Then, a cross-checking penalty to Olim has given Phoenix a man advantage, first power play of the night. Roadrunners with the extra man. Rob Brown on this power play to deep to Yannick Perreault. Dave Tomlinson tried to tuck it in behind Draper. Back to Perreault, now to Rob Brown. Brown winds up, shoots it through everyone. Out at the blue line, Brian McKee. Over to Rob Brown. Brown knocked away. The Runners scoring 22% of the time on the power play. Dave Tomlinson coming in, giving it to Perot, now to Brown. Rob Brown back out to the point to McKee. Cross ice. Steve Wilson at the left point for Phoenix. Rob Brown, second in the league in scoring, second in assists. Brown played in the NHL with the Pittsburgh Penguins at one time. Played with the Chicago Blackhawks at one time. Penalty killing for Minnesota. They kill off penalties 81% of the time. That's overall. Here's Perot. Perot feed into the slot. The shot, no. Wilson didn't get it. It was tapped off his stick. Now McKee will keep it alive in the Minnesota zone. Rob Brown dropping it off for Yannick Perot. Back to no. Rob Brown thought he was going to get it. He got tangled up in front of McKee. Kind of an odd position for Rob Brown. So they lost the puck. And now Phoenix will get it back. Neutralized. Dave Tomlinson to McKee. Time remaining on the power play. The Phoenix Roadrunner power play. 30 seconds remaining. 12:26 to go in this first period. And the Roadrunners with a 1-0 lead. Out of the zone, here's Václav Nedomansky Jr. That name might be familiar to a lot of hockey fans around the nation. His dad, Václav Nedomansky, was a big star in the World Hockey Association for many years. Rob Brown behind the net, feeds it out in front. Dave Tomlinson tried to tuck it in. Goose, how did Draper get that puck?
Well, I think he got a little lucky on this one. He went down because that was a perfect play from behind the net. Like we said, there's a lot of room to work behind the net. Perot got the puck. He just went down, and looks what I found. He was in a good position to stop the puck. But, you know, it's Yannick Perot who can score from there.
Yeah, I thought at first that was Dave Tomlinson, but it was not 14, it was 44, and that is really very familiar territory for Yannick Perot. He scores a lot of goals in that area.
Yeah, he made a good save, but a good shot. But Tom Draper came back on the post real quick. Big save.
Roadrunners are a little bit better on the power play on the road than they are overall. They have scored 23% of the time on the road, and Minnesota at home in the penalty killing unit is fourth in the league. 85% killing off penalties.
Well, you're going to see a big difference tonight with the Roadrunners. They're missing Chris now. Cowie's not back there. They're going to be using a different player out there with McKee, and that's going to really be a big factor for the Roadrunners.
Minnesota back into the Roadrunner zone. The Phoenix Roadrunner zone as the penalty is over. The teams are back at equal strength. Now Corriveau knocked off the play for Minnesota. Back into the zone. Here's Dan Bilesma for Phoenix. He is checked on the play up against the boards, but the puck came free. Checked by Dave Christian. Ryan Straub will get it back in his own zone. 1-0 Phoenix here in the first period. Phoenix picked up its 30th win of the year last night, and right now in the conference, the Western Conference, the Roadrunners are in third position. Great position, with the playoffs only being less than 2 months away. Chris Miller dropping it back into the Minnesota zone. Minnesota, on the other hand, is in line for the final playoff spot. And we'll tell you more about that as our broadcast progresses here on Prime. 11:03 remaining in the first period. Phoenix leading Minnesota 1-0.
When the presence is felt, check out what he's wearing. Robbed by a masked man. Remember what he's wearing. The names wear.
Have you ever created or invented a new product? Don't just let it sit there. Do something about it. Call the Inventors Helpline with offices worldwide. You'll receive free confidential forms and useful information describing the invention process. And when you call right now, you'll also receive a free brochure which tells you how to begin to develop your new idea. So get the ball rolling. Pick up your phone right now and call for your free Inventors Kit.
For free information, call 800-977-5700.
Before the break, we were talking about the team records. Here's the Southwest standings with Denver, Phoenix, Las Vegas, and San Diego in the Southwest Division of the International League. Phoenix, 30 wins, 22 losses, and 9 shootout losses in second place. We'll tell you about the playoffs later in the broadcast. They line them up in the conference, 1 through 8. And then, of course, 1 plays 8 and so forth. Minnesota here tonight with a 22, 24, and 10 record and 54 points in the Central Division of the Western Conference. And this Phoenix Roadrunner club is very tough when they get on the board first. There's no question about that. 10:58 remaining in the first period. And the Phoenix Roadrunners leading 1-0 over the Minnesota Moose. Dave Tomlinson got his 19th goal of the year. That was popped up into the air, taken by Dave Hakstol back in the Minnesota zone. Snuggerud tried to get it out. It's taken away by Yannick Perreault down to Rob Brown. Brown tried to pass it to Nedomansky in the middle, and it was knocked away. Good defensive play by the Moose. Stu Gavin cleared off the boards off the center ice. Steve Wilson feeding it back in, but it's an offside. 10:32 remaining in this first period. Phoenix holding on to that 1-0 lead. Bud Wilkinson, what do you have?
Well, Dave, you mentioned it earlier. The gap here at the St. Paul Civic Center between the back of the goal and the boards, or from the goal line to the boards, on most official rinks, that's 11 feet. Here at the St. Paul Civic Center, the distance is 15 feet. Perhaps Goose or Gretz can say what the effect of that is for us.
Well, I think in turning to Keith Gretzky, the immediate effect I'd ask about the blue lines. It's shortened up between the blue lines and the neutral ice area, isn't it?
Well, it's going to be shorter between the blue lines, but it's a better advantage for the forwards with all that space behind the net. We talked about it before. It's better to set up, move around. You can protect the puck better.
Yeah, it's an advantage for the players. So what about the goaltender? So we'll lose her on this side, of course. Eh?
Spoken like a former goaltender.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot tougher for the goaltender. I'm telling you, the play comes from behind the net. It's tough.
Well, Mario, you're not playing in Hartford or L.A. anymore, or with the Phoenix Roadrunners. You played with the Phoenix Roadrunners for a while, so you can just stand up here and enjoy this one, not have to worry about that area.
I do enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, no battle for possession here. Stephane Morin. Morin, quick wrist shot. Bad save by Mike O'Neill. Runners try to clear, and it is finally cleared out to neutral ice in front of the Roadrunner bench. Here's Nicholas Vachon. Nicholas Vachon trying to work around the defense. He's checked off the play, and the loose puck grabbed by Draper. And that'll stop play and force a face-off in the Minnesota zone. Nicholas Vachon, you're looking at right there. His first year with the Phoenix Roadrunners. He played 3 games in the International League with Atlanta before going to the East Coast Hockey League. He is a scrappy player, I'll tell you, not afraid to go into the corners, very physical player, and he is the son of Rogie Vachon of the Los Angeles Kings, one of the best goaltenders to ever play in the National Hockey League. I asked Nicholas one time, did you ever want to be a goaltender? Your dad, he says, yeah, first time I started to play, I put the pads on.
Then he got smart.
And he also was listening to his mom.
Yeah.
And he gave that up right away. I don't know, maybe Dad had something to say about that too. Out comes Gavin. Stu Gavin for Minnesota. Offside is going to be called as he tried to fire it down into the zone. Good look there at Stu Gavin of the Minnesota Moose. Gavin in 39 games this season is a workhorse. He has 15 points, 6 goals, and 9 assists. Fans here at the Civic Center in St. Paul, Minnesota. The home of the Minnesota Moose. 9:42 remaining here in this first period. 1-0 Phoenix. Justin Hocking, who has just joined the Phoenix Roadrunners today, out on defense for this Roadrunner team. Came in from Knoxville in the East Coast Hockey League. Here's Gavin's shot. He got a good wrist shot, a lot on that one. And was stopped by Mike O'Neill. Close-in shot like that. You know, Mario, I think the one question that's always asked in a situation like, does that hurt when the goaltender picks it up like that? There's not enough pads.
I'm telling you,
every
time I got hit by the puck, and some will say I didn't get hit much, but every time they hit me, I felt it, and always hurt. So you come out, I was talking about O'Neill, he comes out, he's a quick goalie, he came out of his crease, got hit, used his body real well. Gavin's got a good shot. He was on top of the circle, it's a good shot.
Face off in the Roadrunner zone. This will clear the zone back through neutral ice. Minnesota will control halfway through the first period. Loose at the Roadrunner blue line. Dave Tomlinson. Now down along the left wing boards. Dean Kolstad will feed it around the boards to Dan Curry. Curry will clear it. And Brian Straub will feed it right back into the zone, and a break here for the Moose. That took an odd carom off the boards, and Nicholas Vachon rushing into the zone might have had an opportunity at that. hard hitting going on as Vachon takes a glove right in the chin by Humanek.
Well, one thing about Nick, he's going to get in there, and he's on the checking line right now. He's against Moran. He's against Christensen and Curry. That line shut him out last night. They're going to be the tempers are going to be hot right there in that shift. You can see it. Everybody's jumping in. They don't want to play against Nicholas's line. This line can shut him down.
Humanek played in Springfield in the American Hockey League last season. And he was second amongst defensemen in scoring last season in Springfield. 8:50 remaining in this first period. 1-0 Phoenix. And the Minnesota Moose controlling. Now into the zone, Olet. Olet crosses over, shoots it high, looking for the upper right-hand corner. Missed it. Over the net. Olet will pick it up. Drop it off for Sean Williams. Now Steve Wilson feeding it around the boards for Phoenix. Ryan McKee will give it up to Wilson. Cleared it. Olin was in the zone. He's going to have to touch up, otherwise it's offside. Now Williams sees that. It's a delayed offside on Minnesota, and the Roadrunners bring it out. Well, that's waved off. Oh, Edgerton taking a big elbow from Brad Miller. Lost his helmet. Edgerton moving into position. The crowd oohed and awed at the elbow that Edgerton took. Here's McKee out at the left point. He'll shoot it around the board, behind the net. Edgerton's going to pick it up, and Brad Miller ran right into the net and took it off of its foundation. We're going to take a break here in our play in the first period with 7:54 remaining in the first period. Phoenix has a 1-0 lead over Minnesota.
If you like sports and you love to rock, then get ready for some explosive stadium sounds.
We will rock you.
This is Shock Rock.
You make me wanna shout.
24-foot stomping, body-shaking hits. These are the greatest crowd-rocking sport anthems of all time. Shock Rock lets you experience the stadium excitement without leaving your living room. Shock Rock, 24 smash hits on 2 cassettes or 2 CDs. Rock on.
It's just great balls of fire.
Get in on the hottest stadium sounds ever. Just call now and say, I want my Shock Rock. On 2 cassettes, $19.95. 2 CDs, $24.95. Order now.
Credit card orders, call this toll-free number or send check or money order in the amount of $19.95 for cassettes or $24.95 for compact discs, plus $4.95 shipping and handling to this address.
Dave Tennell along with Keith Gretzky, Mario Goslin in the booth. Keith, take a look at this play along the boards. Edgerton.
Well, it looked like a clean hit the second time around. What happens was Rob Brown went to complain on the stop there about the elbow. What the referee said, that Miller's a big boy, Edgerton's a small guy. He just came in and leaned into it.
7:45 remaining in the first period. Phoenix with a 1-0 lead. Puck deflected in front of Draper. Now along the near boards. Hakstol clearing it out for Minnesota. He'll get it ahead to Brill. Brill carrying it into the Roadrunner zone. Brill, big winger, joined the club. Checked into the boards by Steve Wilson. Wilson and Brill fighting for it. Rob Brown there, along with Gavin. Now Gavin gives a little shove to Yannick Perreault. Gavin pulls it off the boards, wants to take it into the slot, drops it high. Chris Miller's shot is deflected. Come back to neutral ice, and now whistle down. Behind the play, the net has come off of its foundation, and the Roadrunner end, and so they'll have to stop play and fix that. Mario, do you remember the days you were playing when they had the solid post in there? That net never gave.
Yeah, well, it was a little better than the old time, it was 72, 73. And now it's perfect now. Every time that somebody touched the net, it goes out because there was so many injuries. Players driving the net, goaltender getting cut between the post and the players. So it's so much safer like this.
Face off, neutral ice, 7:05 remaining in the first period. And Phoenix leading Minnesota 1-0.
Right up!
Here in our first broadcast this season on Prime. We're happy to have you along wherever you may be watching and listening around the country. Puck shot around the boards. Out at the left point, held in. And then the pass into the middle is intercepted by Phoenix. And brought out by Straub, and he'll shoot it into the Minnesota zone. Off the boards, Moran. his own zone. Brian Straub will intercept that center ice and shoot it right back into the Minnesota end. We talked about Minnesota being an independent club in the International League. The Phoenix Roadrunners are a partial affiliate of the Los Angeles Kings. Offside Minnesota. Curry was a little ahead of the play. They are a partial affiliate of the Kings. And what I mean by that is 50% or less of their players come from Los Angeles, and they sign the rest of the players in Phoenix. Taking a look of the fewest home victories in the IHL, and Minnesota's right on top of that. Had problems here at the Civic Center. Now Frank Sartori can't be real happy about that, but he is an intense type of coach, much like Rob Laird, and has Minnesota in a position to fight for a playoff spot this season. First year in the eye. Tom Draper's going to grab this. Leave it off for Olin. Larry Olin. Pass down the left wing, too far ahead of Corvo. And Steve Wilson will catch up to it for Phoenix. Wilson then checked by Olin. Chevalier coming in to help out. Minnesota is going to step up the physical nature of the game a little bit here in this first period. The runners, Sean Brown, who just joined Phoenix for last night's game, came in from the East Coast Hockey League. The Roadrunners have been depleted in forces lately, and so Minnesota would like to take advantage of that a little bit. They have been hit, Phoenix has been hit by injuries and a few call-ups to Los Angeles, so they have some new faces in that lineup tonight. They have Sean Brown and Justin Hocking from the East Coast Hockey League, and Andy Bezeau from the Colonial League joined Phoenix today. Now Perreault to Rob Brown. Into the middle, Edemansky. Check from behind, poke checked off his stick as we come back to neutral ice. Edemansky with it, 5:08 remaining in the first period. Phoenix with a 1-0 lead. Minnesota with control. The neutral ice, Snuggerud can't control. It's taken away from Perreault. They just bat it back and forth like a ping pong ball at neutral ice. Stu Gavin with it. Gavin moving down the right wing, trying to get around the defense. Eric Levine. Gavin did get around Levine, but he lost possession of the puck. Tough break there. Here's Yannick Perreault. Perreault ahead on the right side to Rob Brown. Brown trying to get around the defense, positions himself in front. He's taken down with a hard check, and back comes Minnesota. Then loose with it, Chris Miller. Miller on the right wing, stops, fades it out in front. And Mike O'Neill may have gotten a stick on that one. Rob Brown dropping it back into his own zone. Eric Levine had it knocked away from him. 4:20 remaining in this first period. Brill sending it into the Phoenix zone. Justin Hocking will bring it out. Former #1 draft pick of the Los Angeles Kings. Yannick Perreault now sending it down into the Minnesota zone. And the Moose will control. Coming up on 4 minutes remaining in the first period. Out comes Larry Olin. Olin into the Roadrunner zone. Olin pushed into the boards hard by Steve Wilson. Corvo has it. He'll center it. Nobody there. Phoenix will clear. Draper out of the net. He's going to give it off to Brad Miller, and the big defenseman for the Minnesota Moose will start the play. Stephane Morin, the leading scorer in Minnesota. Rush on the right wing. Stopped, checked by Brian Chapman. Pass into the slot off Brad Miller's stick. Now Miller checked into the boards by Sean Brown. Brown is a big winger, as I mentioned, from the East Coast League. Now, high slot shot. O'Neill with a save. A lot of traffic in front. Where's the puck? Players knocked down all over the place. Then a cross check, and Phoenix will clear it out. Wow. Bodies flying all over the place. Curry standing at the blue line, and it's knocked away. Newman had it for a second for Minnesota. Wilesman can't control. 2:56 to go in the first period. Curry looking for possession along the boards. Fighting there for it. Curry and Dan Bilesma. Now Dean Kolstad. Shoots. O'Neill with a save. And Stephane Morin battling with a Roadrunner player in front is going to get called for a penalty here. We're going to take a break. 2:38 remaining in the first period. A lot of nonstop action going on in this first period. Phoenix holds a 1-0 lead on Minnesota, and they'll have the power play when we come back.
When sports cream, when arms are sore, when legs ache, when muscles hurt. Why Sports Cream? Massaging Sports Cream in brings fast pain relief. No medicine-y smell, no odor. Why Sports Cream? Because it works.
Swiss Miss hot cocoa drinkers are trying hot Ovaltine.
I was surprised. You got me. It's chocolatey, it's creamy, it's not watery, it's delicious. It's a real good taste.
Hot Ovaltine is made with milk. It tastes creamy and is more nutritious than hot cocoa.
I like it because I like the chocolate flavor. I'd buy the Ovaltine now because of it's good for you and it tastes good. Why not have it?
Hot Ovaltine in malt and chocolate malt. Compare it to your hot cocoa and taste the difference.
It's big-time college ball on the left coast. If you're looking for top-ranked teams, nobody tops the Pac-10.
USC battles Stanford Thursday on this regional sports network.
Fans here in the Twin Cities have a very special way of showing their support for the Minnesota Moose. They put on styrofoam antlers. Dave, I think you either have to be a very special fan or be very secure in your manhood if you're going to wear styrofoam antlers, though.
But I think you'd look good in those. You may try one of those on. Here's the penalty, and it turned out to be coincidental minor. Stephane Morin went in, but also Nicolas Vachon. Morin hits Vachon from behind after Vachon was holding in the slot. So they're both in the penalty box. Nobody is shorthanded, but they'll skate 4-on-4 here and open up a little bit more ice with 2:35 remaining in this first period. Phoenix with a 1-0 lead. Wilson lost the puck for a second. Gavin took it off his stick. Minnesota with a turnover here, but it's taken away by Yannick Perreault. Perreault will give it now. Here's Steve Wilson. Wilson in the zone. He'll shoot high up on the plexiglass. Now along the right wing boards. Pulled off by Minnesota, and an opportunity here. Here's Gavin into the zone. He'll wind up, shot high off the plexiglass, took it himself. Looked like a 2-on-1 developing. Now into the slot, the puck off a stick. Tough break for Minnesota. Rob Brown. Brown feeding it across. Tapped in front of Draper, couldn't control. Snuggerud. Dave Snuggerud for Minnesota. Now his shot. Saved there by O'Neill. As I told you, a lot more open ice, 4-on-4. Chapman's pass looking for Yannick Perreault is deflected onto the plexiglass. A minute and a half remaining in the period. 50 seconds to go in the coincidental minor penalties to Morin and Vachon. Now Minnesota out of their own end. Kolstad back into his own zone. Dean Kolstad, veteran defenseman. Dan Curry looking for the puck. He doesn't get it. Now up to center, taken away from Humanuk by Chevalier. Jeff Chevalier into the Minnesota zone. Chevalier drops it along the board. Something fell on the ice. It looks like a towel or something. Now the Moose out of their own zone. 52 seconds remaining here in this first period. Now to Curry. Curry's shot. That's blocked before it gets to O'Neill. Blocked by Brian Chapman. Penalties are now over. The teams will go back to 5-on-5, and we've got a penalty coming up here. A penalty coming up on the Phoenix Roadrunners with 31 seconds remaining. In the first period, Minnesota is going to go on the power play. Dennis LaRue will call holding here on Phoenix. Not sure who it's on yet.
It looks like it's going to be on Brian Straub. You see him behind the net with Williams here. He's holding him. He should let him go right now, but he keeps on holding him, and LaRue puts up his hand. But if you watch continuing here, you'll see how Curry just gives a little shot to Chevalier there at the end. That should have been a penalty also. He's got to call him both ways. Not just saying that on the Roadrunners, but he's got to call him both ways here tonight.
31 seconds remaining in the first period, and the Minnesota Moose will have the power play. I've often thought, Mario Goslin, that goaltenders like to split these penalties up from one period to the next.
Yeah, it gives you a little break.
Well, O'Neill had to look through traffic and all sorts of legs. He had to look through about 4 or 5 sets of legs in order to make that save.
If you want to take a penalty at the end of the period like this, it's perfect. If you kill the first 30 seconds, then you will take, when you start the second period, 10 or 15 minutes to get reorganized for another power play. So it's good time to take a penalty if you have to take one.
20 37 seconds to go in the period. Phoenix shorthanded. Minnesota with the power play. Each team with 11 shots so far in the period. And the hockey game. We're in the first period here in Minnesota. Puck back out to the point. That's Christian. Working the point for the Moose. Threw it into the slot, the low slot, and it was intercepted by Vachon. And cleared back into the Minnesota end. 5 seconds to go in the first period. Here's Corriveau. He fanned on the shot, and that'll do it. First period comes to an end here in Minnesota. 1-0. Phoenix over the Minnesota Moose. He'll go to the dressing room. We got a lot of things planned for you, Keith. Goose was talking about the advantage the goaltender sees in splitting it up from one period to the next. How about the forwards? Do they like coming out playing on fresh ice on that power play?
Well, it's going to be an advantage to Minnesota because they can use their power, the #1 power play unit, for the whole minute and a half now. Coming out, they're going to finish it for 1 minute and 28 seconds. They're going to be fresh. They could go to the dressing room, talk it over, and see what's going to happen, and then they're going to be fresh.
Pretty good period, Mario Gosselin, for the goaltenders, both Draper and Mike O'Neill.
Great period for both goaltenders. I mean, he started the game. Draper made 3 great saves. Then O'Neill. That's all we've seen from the guy so far since he got to Phoenix. He made save after save after save, make it look real easy. He played another great period.
But yet there was a lot of wide open action out on the ice here tonight in this first period. We look for more of the same in the second and third period. Let's go down to Bud Wilkinson. He has Roadrunner coach Rob Laird.
Well, Rob, Roadrunners are on top 1-0 right now, but you're in a situation where you've had people caught up. You've got a lot of guys on the injured list. How do you adjust in a situation like this when you don't have a full complement of men?
Well, you got to make adjustments definitely here. When a player gets called up to the LA Kings, you really got to treat that as a positive and pat that guy in the back and wish him good luck. And then it's time for somebody else to step forward and make the most of the opportunity. A guy like Sean Brown has been in Knoxville all year long. Justin Hawking's back. They have to step forward and really pick up the slack.
What about this first period tonight? Roadrunners showing a lot more aggression than they did last night, perhaps.
Well, we got that first goal, and it's real important. It allows us to, keep the matchups we want and try to shut down Moran's line as much as possible. And our team is more effective when we take the body.
Okay, Rob, thank you very much. I'll let you get to the locker room.
Okay, bye, thanks. Appreciate it.
Rob Laird was once an assistant with Washington in the National Hockey League and had great success in Fort Wayne, also in the International Hockey League. That's our score at the end of the first period of play. Don't go anywhere. We got a lot planned in the first intermission.
There is only one total body fitness machine that gives you a complete aerobic workout while
Yannick and Brownie.
Now we're talking with Dave Tomlinson, the captain of the Phoenix Roadrunners. He scored the goal in the first period. The difference in our hockey game, 1-0 Phoenix leading Minnesota. I look at the stat sheet. Mike O'Neill is having a great time in Phoenix. He hasn't lost in regulation yet. You guys are relying on him an awful lot out there.
Oh yeah, like again last night he stopped a whole bunch of shots and he's come in and just picked up where Byron Defoe left off. Bizey's doing well with he's got his games with Washington right now. So Mike O'Neill came in and he stepped in and done a great job for us.
Yeah, confidence like that can spread to the rest of the players on the team.
Oh yeah, well we've never had a problem with our goaltending all year long, and Oni stepped in and done a great job for us.
When you talk about consistent play, and we look at this Phoenix Roadrunner hockey team, you have played a big part on the line of Yannick Perreault and Rob Brown in the past. Now that's switching around a little bit. There's two very consistent players.
Yeah, Brownie and Yannick haven't missed a beat all year, and it was fun playing with them. And when you're not with anyone who plays on that line is going to get a ton of chances to score. So, I miss playing with them, but I'm happy with who I'm with right now.
Yeah, and I also think that you miss playing with a couple of friends, veteran players, Jim Vesey and Brian McReynolds, who are out with injuries back in Phoenix watching right now.
Yeah, we just gotten together as a line there, and we were, going real good. We were flying, and then they both unfortunately got hurt. We miss them a lot on the team right now.
Well, we miss watching them too. Dave Tomlinson, thanks for taking some time.
Thanks, Dave.
Dave Tomlinson, captain of the Roadrunners. The goal in the first period is the difference in our hockey game here on Prime as Phoenix leads Minnesota 1-0 at the end of one period of play.
Past weekend?
Yeah, we had probably our greatest attendance weekend in league history. About 9,600 fans per game attended the IHL games, which far surpassed anything we've ever done before.
Now, I know in cities like Chicago and Detroit, you have IHL teams there, there are NHL teams there. When the NHL was out on strike, okay, the I was going to draw. Now the NHL is back. You really haven't seen any fall off in attendance, though.
I think actually conversely we've seen attendance increase. You know, our perspective's always been that what's good for hockey is good for the IHL and the NHL for that matter. So in both Detroit and Chicago, the attendance increases have actually gone skyward as opposed to decrease, which many people predicted they would.
Okay, 5 new teams this year. Next year, 2 more teams coming in.
Yeah, 2 more teams. You know, Orlando comes on board, San Francisco comes on board, and we actually have a franchise relocation. The San Diego Gulls are moving to Los Angeles, which gives us a team in the number 2 market in the country, in LA.
I know we were talking at dinner time about what the effect's been like down in Orlando, down in Florida. I mean, people snapping up season tickets, and they haven't even named the team yet.
Yeah, they have no team name, but they do have about 7,000 season ticket deposits, which is phenomenal. They had about 150 deposits before they even officially announced they were acquiring the team. So we're really excited about South Florida and the Florida market. All of our teams in the Rust and the Sun Belt have done phenomenal, and we think San Francisco and the Cow Palace in San Francisco is going to get off to a flying start. And LA is, what can you say about LA? We need to have a team in major markets if we're going to get the national television exposure.
I guess the only question left to ask, and it'll be a quick one, is what's next?
Well, you know, we're talking about Europe in 96, 97. We have commitments from 7 countries over there to begin intercontinental play in 96, 97. We have more cities domestically that we can count right now who are interested in franchises. So we're going to continue to push the expansion envelope. We think we have a phenomenal product, and the new markets have reaffirmed our commitment to expansion domestically and internationally.
Well, Greg, thanks for taking the time with us. We really appreciate it.
Great to have you on board, bud.
Great. Greg Elliott of the International Hockey League. When we return, number 2.
Well, we gave them way too much room in the first 7-8 minutes of that period. And if you do that against this team, they're going to hurt you. Their defensive core is decimated, but they still got some strong people up front, and we just can't give them that room. And if we play them tight to the cuff, we're going to get our opportunities if we play competitively patient.
Okay, thanks, Frank. Let's get back to the bench. Thank you. David?
Okay, Bud, looked like Frank used just as much voice as he had left for that interview. I'll tell you, very vocal, very active on the bench. Here's our stats from the first period. Penalties even. The face-offs won. Phoenix had the advantage in that particular category. The Moose got more shots on goal, pretty even first period, and that's marked in the scoreboard with Phoenix having a 1-0 lead. Mickey Moose going around in the crowd tonight.
No, yeah, the Minnesota coach was talking about shutting down the Roadrunners. Now I think they're going to go back to only one forechecker and wait for their chances. They won't open up like they did in the first period.
They're going to start with a power play here at the start of the second period. 1:25 remaining in the penalty to Phoenix, Brian Straub. So the Roadrunners with the penalty killing unit out there starting the second period. Minnesota setting up the power play in the Roadrunner zone. Here's Christian, shot. That glanced off the pad of Mike O'Neill. Second period just getting underway here in the St. Paul Civic Center. Moose, Stepan Moran, leading scorer. We've talked a lot about him tonight. Get it deep. Curry will send it behind the net. Horrible out to the point, left side. Humanek will get it now to Dave Christian. Back to Humanek. He'll shoot. That was deflected by Eric Levine, defenseman for the Roadrunners, before it got to Mike O'Neill, and it's cleared. 39 seconds remaining in the man advantage. Just starting the second period, Dave Christian to Moran. Moran on the right wing. Backhand shot, that one off Mike O'Neill, and it's cleared the length of the ice. 25 seconds remaining in the man advantage. Dean Kolstad back to pick it off for Minnesota and bring it out. Kolstad moving through the neutral zone into the Roadrunner zone. His shot, he scored from right about that area last night. Now Snuggerud dropping it back to Stu Gavin. Now to Snuggerud along the board, out to the blue line. Shot deflected by Gavin, and it's just wide. Behind the Roadrunner net, it's loose. Penalty is over, and the teams now are back at equal strength. Straub out of the penalty box will clear it through neutral ice, back into the Minnesota zone. Stu Gavin back to get it. Bringing it out through neutral ice. Gavin, a lot of experience in the National Hockey League. 14-year veteran there. Drops off the boards, out to neutral ice. Devin Edgerton for Phoenix. Edgerton lost it. Hawkins back out onto the ice. Phoenix's Jeff Chevalier trying to maneuver in front of the Minnesota net. Lost possession. Williams. Sean Williams will drop it back for his defense. Todd Hawkins got injured in the first period. He got a cut above the right eye, but he got it stitched up, and he's back on the ice right now for the Moose. Matter of fact, he's skating into the right wing, picking up the loose puck behind the Roadrunner net. 17:39 remaining in the second period. 1-0 Phoenix. for it at neutral ice. Hawkins dropping it back into his own zone, turns around and looks at Jeff Chevalier, who smacked him with a stick right across the waist before he went off the ice. Ryan Chapman. Near side play to Václav Nedomansky Jr. Now crossing, and Hawkins was coming off the play. So he didn't play it. Yannick Perreault had to go off his stick. Now pass, deep, shot, and a save by Draper. The Roadrunners maneuvered the puck into the circle to the left of Draper. Got a good shot on goal. Ryan Straub back for Justin Hockey, who loses it, then sends it behind his own net. Straub up to Yannick Perreault. Yannick Perreault, the leading scorer in the eye, gets it headed to Nedomansky into the zone. Nedomansky capped it around and it goes into the net himself. He was checked into the net by Chris Miller as he poked the puck around Draper. It was wide of the left post, and Nedomansky went in, but you don't get any points for that. Says I'm all right. Look,
the Roadrunners has a good matchup against Minnesota. They play against who they want, and they got all kind of chances.
An opportunity there as Nedomansky ends up in the back of the net. Checked by Chris Miller. Nedomansky just lost his balance instead of going into that post. Felt the back of the net was a little bit softer. Well, there's some scores. Milwaukee leading Atlanta 2-1 in the second period. As we watch one Roadrunner player go off the ice. Is that Eric Levine? Yes, it is. Eric Levine going off for Phoenix. As you take a look at the IHL scores on our Prime IHL scoreboard. So the Roadrunners, who can ill afford to lose defensemen, have sent Eric Levine to the dressing room. And he was very slow in getting to the dressing room. O'Neill out of the net, lets it go, and we get an icing call on the Minnesota Moose. That was a pretty good race between Corvo and Brian Straub. Straub got there first.
Well, right now, Phoenix Roadrunners have to be happy the way the game's going. They're not taking too many chances. They're not getting out-tacked in their own zone. Minnesota, they've got to be happy, other than, as what the coach said, the first 7 minutes was too wide open. The only thing I can see Minnesota changing is they've got to get some bodies in front of O'Neill. They've got to make some traffic in there. They're not going to score from them very often outside the blue line, in the corner. They've got to have Trackett screening them, waiting for a deflection, causing commotion in front of the net.
Keith is right. I mean, against O'Neill, he's going to stop most of the puck that he can see. You want to score against him, you screen, you go for a rebound, and you make some things happen in front of the net, right in the crease.
16:31 remaining in the second period. A long way to go in this one. Phoenix with a 1-0 lead. Up along the boards. Hakstol checking his man into the boards. Now Hawkins. Todd Hawkins will bring it out for Minnesota. Hawkins played in the Vancouver organization for several years. Signed as a free agent here. Off the boards, he'll send it down into the Roadrunner zone. Steve Wilson for Phoenix. Wilson to Brian Straub. Now the Runners try to get it ahead to Nicholas Vachon, who got pinched between a couple of players, and we have a penalty coming up on Minnesota. We're going to get a elbowing call on the Minnesota Moose. We got a couple of players pinching in there. Keith?
It looks like they're all going after Vachon there. But it's second time tonight that the little guy, everybody's trying to hit him. You see Corvo here. I think he got hit last night by a high stick. He's wearing a full shield tonight. He came with his elbow high and caught Nicholas Vachon.
Now, Nicholas Vachon could be a pesky little player.
Well, we've talked to Nicholas, and his game has really changed. It's gone from an offensive player to a defensive specialist, also getting a few chances to score. Last night and so far tonight, their line is doing a great job shutting down the top line. And the coach Laird has to be very happy with this young player.
Corvo gets 2 minutes for elbowing. Just 4 minutes into the second period. Roadrunners with the man advantage and a 1-0 lead. Here's Rob Brown. Drop it off far side. Shot. Screening in front was Dave Tomlinson. But the puck never got to Draper. Phoenix controlling. Rob Brown off the boards. Yannick Perreault had it poked off his stick. And it's going to be cleared out of the zone by Brill.
Well, there's one thing you're going to notice on the Phoenix power play. Perreault and Brown are going to move the puck. You'll see Tomlinson. He'll be standing in front of the net waiting for the screen for a deflection or a rebound.
That was Stefan Moran who cleared the puck out, not Brill. And Minnesota goes back. Oh! A wide open net as the puck flipped out in front. And a quick shot and a miss. Minnesota getting a big break there. Here's Gavin going down into the zone. Gavin's shot. And O'Neill with a save. Hakstol came in, fired it. That'll stop play, and we'll have a face-off in the Roadrunner end. What happened behind the Minnesota net?
Well, they had a problem, bad communication between the goaltender and the defenseman. So Yannick Perreault was so surprised. He hit the goaltender, was so surprised there was no goaltender in that he missed the net. Yannick used to score with a goaltender in the net, so he missed this one.
He didn't recognize it.
No, they couldn't see the net.
So that can't be the net. There's nobody in front of it. That was a pretty steep angle, too. We're going to go down to Bud Wilkinson for, we'll hold it just a second, and then we'll get to Bud in a minute. He's going to have an update for us on Eric Levine, the Roadrunner defenseman who left the ice a moment ago with an apparent injury. 55 seconds to go in the man advantage, and we get an icing call on the Roadrunners. Now, down to Bud Wilkinson. Bud, what do you have?
Yeah, Dave, defenseman Eric Levine took a shot on his ankle, his left ankle. Trainer Scott Green is in there putting ice on it right now. It's swollen up. It looks like a beach ball almost. At this point, it's kind of doubtful whether Eric Levine will be back tonight because, as I say, there's a great deal of swelling. Scott Green applying ice to it, Dave.
Keith Gretzky, you played center in the International Hockey League for many years. I tell you, you can get hit around that ankle, and that can hurt.
Especially guys that block shots, and I wasn't one. I never probably do the flamingo, as they call it, the one leg up.
Well, you were like me, you never block shots, eh?
Had a good look at Rob Laird, coach of the Roadrunners, looking on. Now his team trying to work it out of his own zone with the man advantage. 43 seconds to go in the man advantage. Runners, Jeff Chevalier, dropping it deep. Chris Miller firing it around the boards. This will go the length of the ice. 28 seconds to go in the power play for Phoenix. Rob stick handling back in his own end. Gets the puck back again, and he'll try it one more time. Here's Nedemansky. Nedemansky. Check from behind by Moran. Puck into the Minnesota zone. Tom Draper will get it in the left wing corner, and out comes Stefan Moran with it. Penalty is now over, and the teams are back at equal strength. So Minnesota killed off another power play chance for Phoenix, and the score remains the same. Phoenix 1, Minnesota 0 here in the second period. Chevalier. Here is Nedemansky, and his shot sent way up into the Civic Center crowd here in St. Paul, Minnesota. That'll stop play. 1-0 Phoenix with 13:38 to go in the second period.
If you need extra strength medication to treat itchy skin, you're not alone.
I was always itching, I was always scratching, I felt miserable.
Now you can solve your itchy skin problems with new Extra Strength Gold Bond medicated powder.
With the Extra Strength Gold Bond, the itch is gone.
Extra Strength Gold Bond has an extra strength triple action formula. We take our proven absorbing action, then add more pain reliever for medicating action, and extra zinc oxide for drying action.
I recommend Extra Strength Gold Bond to all my friends because it works.
New Extra Strength Gold Bond medicated powder.
Alka-Seltzer or Bromo-Seltzer. They sound the same, but there are two differences. Bromo-Seltzer has 29% more acid-neutralizing capacity than Alka-Seltzer. That's 29% more power to neutralize stomach acid. And Bromo-Seltzer contains the non-aspirin pain reliever used most by hospitals, while Alka-Seltzer contains aspirin. So if you want 29% more acid-neutralizing capacity and the pain reliever used most by hospitals, there's only one choice: Bromo-Seltzer.
Phoenix leading Minnesota 1-0. 13:38 remaining in the second period of play here from the Civic Center in St. Paul, Minnesota. Happy to have you along with the IHL on Prime. And the draw will go to the Minnesota Moose. Just joining us, Minnesota, in their traditional white home uniform, black and silver trim, and Phoenix, traditional road blue uniforms with silver and white trim. Shot stayed on the ice, wide of the right post. Mike O'Neill just watched it go by. Brill takes a check into the boards. Out to the right point, Dave Hakstol holding it in. Kept alive in the Phoenix zone. After it, Steve Wilson. Wilson giving it up to Brian Chapman. Chapman out to Dave Tomlinson. Cross-ice pass. Offside will be called as Rob Brown tried to scoop it in front of him. But it went over his stick, and he went into the zone first. So it's offside Phoenix. 13:04 remaining here in the second period. Well, the question has to be, though, the Phoenix Roadrunners suffered some injuries. They've had some call-ups. And here's the spectators reading the Daily Moose up there. That's a publication they have here in the building. But the question I'm getting to is, Coach Rob Laird has got to be a little concerned about the stamina of his hockey team going through the third period.
Yeah, I mean, 2 games in 2 nights and play with 5 defensemen now. There's one that just made it like barely for the game at 5 o'clock. These guys will be tired.
You got a couple of newcomers, and Sean Brown, Andy Bezeau, and also Justin Hocking. So you're not going to rely on them very heavily tonight. Back into the Minnesota zone. Out comes Sean Williams. Williams into the Roadrunner zone, trying to pass it ahead. Horrible was knocked down on the play. Todd Hawkins keeps it alive. Puck along the boards in the Roadrunner end. Behind the net, Sean Williams. Had to go over his stick, and then he is checked by Steve Wilson. Now Hawkins tried to feed it out in front over a stick. Phoenix will intercept. Nicholas Vachon will bring it back. Vachon holds up at the right point. Breaking in front, Steve Wilson with a screen. But the shot was blocked before it got to Draper. Brad Miller. Miller into the Roadrunner end. Miller tried to get around Brian Straub. Punched off the boards, back into the Minnesota zone. Draper will come out of his net to play it. No icing. Humanuk on the near side, feeds it back behind his own net. And Curry going to get it. He'll take a check from Sean Brown, and didn't like that. Sean Brown, big 215-pound winger for Phoenix. And Curry is a pretty good-sized young man himself. At about 205. Dropping it into the Minnesota zone. Play going back and forth right now. Each team had 11 shots in the first period, and right now Phoenix is being outshot 15-13, almost halfway through the second period. We haven't had that many opportunities here.
Yeah, I think they're playing a little bit more like Frank Serratori was talking about. He wants to shut down the Phoenix offense and wait for his chances. Didn't happen so far in the second period, but he's waiting for it.
11:24 remaining in the second period of play. They'll face it off in the Roadrunner zone.
You look around the league and you know that every team that faced the Phoenix Roadrunners, they respect their offense and they always play tight checking game. If they want to win, they got to play that kind of game.
Told you about the shots on goal for the hockey game. Right now they have updated it to 17-13 for Minnesota. Shot tapped off Mike O'Neill. Good recovery to the left post to block that from coming out in front. 11:17 remaining in the second period. Dave Tomlinson scored in the first period for Phoenix. It's 1-0 over Minnesota. The IHL on Prime.
When the presence is felt, check out what he's wearing. Get robbed by a masked man. Remember what he's wearing. The names wear.
Have you ever created or invented a new product? Don't just let it sit there. Do something about it. Call the Inventors Helpline with offices worldwide. You'll receive free confidential forms and useful information describing the invention process. And when you call right now, you'll also receive a free brochure which tells you how to begin to develop your new idea. So get the ball rolling. Pick up your phone right now and call for your free Inventors Kit.
For free information, call 800-977-5700.
Not all the fans here at the Civic Center are rooting for the Minnesota Moose. No, we have some Roadrunners fans here. Say, Roadrunners ignite my engine. Mike Ryan, you're from here. Why are you rooting for the Runners?
We love the Runners here. They're great. We've been IHL fans for a long time. Been looking for the Roadrunners for a long time. Rooting for the Roadrunners for a long time.
That's what happened, Dave, when you go to Phoenix on vacation. You come back a Roadrunner fan.
Yeah, and a lot of people do vacation in Phoenix. Minnesota trying to vacation right in front of Mike O'Neill. And O'Neill stops them. Moran, Curry, and now a little pushing and shoving going on in front of the Roadrunner net. We talked about some of the injuries that Phoenix has coming into this game and some of the call-ups. Well, Minnesota doesn't have to deal with the call-ups, but they do have some injuries to some key players. Dave Morissette, along with Scott Sissons and Marco Sicchi, and then, of course, Frank Pietrangelo, the goaltender, veteran goaltender, also out with an injury. And those can't help you at all. Keith, that's some veteran talent right there.
The injuries are going to kill you, and especially right now when Minnesota's fighting for a playoff spot, they need those veteran players. They're an independent hockey club, and they can't be relying on one line to score the goals or be a tight check. And they need these key players back.
Face off in the Roadrunner end. Out to the blue line. Shot. That one up over O'Neill and over the plexiglass. Hard hitting going on out there now. Here's Dave Tomlinson. Tomlinson for Phoenix. One-hands it to the Minnesota blue line. Now back into the Phoenix zone. Dan Curry rushing after it. Brian Straub's going to get there first, and it's icing on Minnesota. Well, Keith, you brought up the point about Minnesota fighting for that playoff spot. Right now, they would have the final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. Even though they're in the West, they have a better record than Fort Wayne does. And so they would move into the playoffs over there. They are 22-24-10. Watch this hit. We talked about Nicholas Vachon and how he plays this game with reckless abandonment. And that's a good example right there.
Well, one thing, you saw Curry. He saw that's what a winger is supposed to do there. He is supposed to make sure he protects the D-man. That's one that when they win the faceoff, they want that D to get the shot away. The winger is responsible for holding up that forward from not getting out to block the shot.
Draw to the Minnesota Moose. Stu Gavin taking it into the Roadrunner zone. Checked into the boards by Steve Wilson. Now some real banging going on again. And the fans reacting to that here in the Civic Center. Yannick Perreault couldn't catch up to it. Shot by Hakstol. Tipped. Looked like by Brill. Wide of the right post. Loose behind the Roadrunner net. Then around the boards. Hakstol's going to get there first. Didn't stop it. And it'll go back to neutral ice. 10:20 remaining in the second period. Phoenix holding on to a 1-0 lead over Minnesota. Loose puck, knocked down by Brian McKee as he threw his body in front of it. Now Nedomansky had it for a second. He gives it out to McKee. Back to Nedomansky. Loose at center. Here's Chris Miller into the Roadrunner zone. Miller, drop pass into the circle. Shot, score! And it's tied at 1. Minnesota is on the board.
Well, I'm sure that Mike O'Neill would like to see that shot again. It's not a bad shot, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's a hard shot from the circle. It's walking in, but it's 5-hole. It's the worst thing that can happen to a goaltender. You have to open up the legs a little bit so you can move side to side. And the shot was perfect between the 5-hole, between the legs. But I'm sure that O'Neill would like to see that shot again.
Well, Snuggerud got everything on that wrist shot. He just reared back and fired it.
Well, one thing, the play started with the Roadrunners running around. They were running around in their own zone. The puck came out. They got the 3 forwards caught. They came back down on a 3-on-2. It's a drop pass to Snuggerud, and he fired it in.
Scoring for Minnesota. His 15th goal of the season, number 10, Dave Snuggerud.
Snuggerud getting his 15th goal of the season.
Chris Miller, time of the goal, 10:02.
10:02 is the time. Chris Miller gets an assist. And it's a 1-1 hockey game. 9:42 remaining here in the second period. Runner setting up behind the Minnesota net. Pass into the slot. And coming down the slot, Justin Hocking. Didn't get all of that shot. Now a pass to the side, and Jeff Chevalier with a backhand shot. Runners, Phoenix putting on pressure. Right after Minnesota has scored. Chapman. Shot deflected up into the crowd. And that will stop play. So Phoenix, content to play defense in the first half of the second period, has only mounted 13 shots on goal for the game, 2 in this period. Now finds themselves in a 1-1 tie.
Biggest thing I've noticed with the Roadrunners right now, they're running around. I mentioned it on that goal. They've got to go back to their style in the first period. They got to sit back, make sure they have 3 guys back. They can't be running. I've watched the wingers are going to help each other out. The key is to do your own job in your own zone.
Phoenix with possession at their own blue line. Brian Straub going to get across ice. Headed by Steve Wilson. The injury to Eric Levine on the Phoenix Roadrunner defensive unit. We're going to have veterans like Straub and Steve Wilson doing more of the duty along with Brian Chapman here tonight. Also going to be relying on Brian McKee. Now Straub getting it ahead. Milesma off past Sean Skate. Back at neutral ice. Knocked down. Milesma takes a hit from behind by Todd Hawkins. And the play is whistled down, and we'll have a face-off just outside the Roadrunner blue line. 8:40 remaining here in the second period. 1-1 game. Take a look at this Minnesota Moose logo. And very colorful logo on some of the Minnesota Moose.
We got a new line. We got a new line coming up with Perro, Brown, and Bezeau. We know Bezeau is a real aggressive player. See if we start something here.
Bezeau out on the ice for the first time, looking at Stu Gavin, trying to check him into the boards. Now Bezeau comes to the Roadrunners with over 400 minutes of penalties in 53 games in the Colonial Hockey League. He's throwing himself around right now. So the game got physical. Oh, Bezeau is going to draw a penalty. Snuggerud cross-checked him from behind, and Bezeau went out, started messing it up a little bit, and drew a penalty. Now he's got to back off here. Here we go. Bezeau fighting it out with Dave Hakstol. Bezeau on top of Hakstol. I'll tell you, Andy Bezeau, who just joined this Phoenix club today, is like a buzzsaw.
Well, that's what you ask for. You know your role when you come up to a hockey club. Either you're a goal scorer, a hitter, a fighter, a checker. This guy, he just wants to play. He wants to make a name for himself. He wants to help this hockey club out.
So they're going to sort it out. And while they do that, we'll take a little time out. 1-1 hockey game. You're watching IHL on Prime.
If you want your stomach to look like this, or you want the great feeling of a lean waistline, then you want 8-Minute Abs.
8-Minute Abs is great. I pop it in, I'm done, and it works.
8-Minute Abs takes you through a series of simple movements scientifically designed into an 8-minute program for fast results.
I use 8-Minute Abs, and I recommend it to all of my clients.
I used to wear loose clothes to hide my tummy, but look, now I use 8-Minute Abs.
The secret to 8-Minute Abs is using the abdominal muscles in a specific sequence to maximize effectiveness, and that's why it works. It gets the job done in only 8 minutes.
If you've got 8 minutes and a VCR, you'll get great abs too.
Call now to get yours for only $19.95, and we'll also send 8-minute buns absolutely free. That's a $40 value for just $19.95.
Call 1-800-340-3400 to order with a check or credit card. That's 1-800-340-3400. Call right now.
Well, here's how all the activity started in this 1-1 hockey game. There you see Andy Bezeau mixing it up, and then he takes the cross-check here from Snuggerud. And then after the play, everybody kind of gathered to talk about it. Hakstol came in to challenge Bezeau, and this fight happened from that. And Bezeau, the buzzsaw, went at it. Hakstol went down, and they'll take them both to the penalty box. As I was talking about Andy Bezeau, we got the details on him today. Came in to join the Phoenix Roadrunners from the Colonial Hockey League because the Runners missing so many players. This is his second stint in Phoenix, but he has over 400 minutes in penalties this season in the Colonial Hockey League in just 53 games.
Minnesota's number 2, Hakstol.
You're kind of hockey.
Gratz, how many penalty minutes? What was your biggest year of penalty minutes?
I think about 10. I was in misconduct. I was yelling at
that was one penalty.
On the same shift.
All right, so the difference right here is Snuggerud's cross-checking penalty, and the Roadrunners have a man advantage. Phoenix with the power play with 8:09 remaining here in the second period. Brian Chapman feeding it into the Minnesota zone. Phoenix is 0 for 2 on the power play tonight. 1-1 hockey game. Here's Brian Chapman. Chapman feeding it around the boards. Behind the net, Yannick Perreault. He'll get it out to Rob Brown. Brown out to the point. Wind up, shot deflected. Yannick Perreault sends it out of midair with a stick to Rob Brown. Now, Dave Tomlinson from the point. Here's Chapman. Rebound, Tomlinson. He's knocked down in front of the net. Sean Williams Cross-check Dave Tomlinson as he was trying to poke in the rebound. But you're going to get more leeway in front of the hockey net like that. They're going to allow you a little more latitude with that stick.
Yeah, and when you kill a penalty, they let you go a little bit more, and you have a quicker whistle because Draper didn't have the puck, but he had the quick whistle. You know, it's the old goaltender. He got to call on this one.
And you notice this is really a good play by Sean Williams. Now watch, he lays the stick on Tomlinson and then pushes him forward. He doesn't use the stick as a weapon and bang him in the back.
That's why he doesn't get called.
That's some pretty good pictures there to show the play in front of the net. And that really, in laying the stick on his back, I think that, that's not a penalty in that capacity. Not in front of the net, coming off a penalty. Yannick Perreault drops it back to Brian Chapman. Phoenix controlling the puck. Here's Dave Tomlinson at center. Rob Brown back to Tomlinson. No, it's deflected. Chapman to Tomlinson. Tomlinson, deflected it at Tom Draper. Draper with a big save. Right out in front. Shot. Draper with another save. Phoenix still with it. Rob Brown brought it out, sent it through the crease, and it's cleared out onto the far boards. Phoenix with some good chances. Rob Brown with it again. Brown to Tomlinson. It was deflected away from him. And back comes the Minnesota Moose. Stepan Moran into the Roadrunner zone. Drop it into the circle. Back to Moran. He'll lose it, and Yannick Perreault will pick it up, and he is tripped from behind. The stick caught in Perreault's skate, and there was no call. Now Moran coming in. Shot. Stopped by O'Neill. Wow. Moose got a break there. 6:40 remaining. That would have been a 3-on-1 Phoenix had Yannick Perreault been able to keep his balance, stay on his skate, and break out with it. Here's Rob Brown. Brown dropping it off into the corner. Brown getting it back again. He'll slide it side of the net. Netamansky back to Brown. Brown makes a maneuver behind the net. Now it's caught up on the back side of the net, and that's whistled down by Dennis LaRue. Yannick Perreault, I think, making his feelings known right here. Take a look at this, Keith.
You see Perreault, he's breaking up ice. He has a clear cut for a 3-on-1. The stick, as you're watching on the replay, is still caught in his blade. That is a penalty. And the referee was right there watching it.
Wow, that's a tough one.
Oh, no!
Look out, duck.
I just got nightmare.
Mario.
I see the puck coming at me. I thought I was playing again.
Mario, that reminded
guys.
you of your days in the net, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yannick Perreault leading the league in points and goals on the Roadrunner bench. Face-off circle to the left of Tom Draper.
You really see how the Phoenix power play is struggling tonight without Brown and Snell or Cowie back there. That's the key back there, to set it up on the point there.
Both Rob Cowie and Chris Snell, Phoenix defensemen, were called up by the Los Angeles Kings today and will play tomorrow night in Los Angeles. Now the puck along the boards as the penalty has expired to Minnesota, and the teams are back at equal strength. Here's Todd Hawkins feeding it into the Roadrunner zone, caught by Mike O'Neill, and he'll just be content to hold on to it and force a faceoff. 5:56 to go in the second period.
Congratulations.
There's a couple of good-looking fans here at the Civic Center in St. Paul enjoying this game. They got all the Moose gear. You got to have the hat and the T-shirt and such. Take a look at the Minnesota Moose bench. Frank Serratore right here in the dark jacket with the notepad pacing behind the bench. I'll tell you what, it's hard to start an expansion club, especially at this level of play. This is an excellent level of play in professional hockey, and it's very hard to start it. And I think Serratore's done a great job. He's 22, 24, and 10 right now with this club. Had a little trouble playing at home, but he can correct that. Back into the Minnesota end. Brad Miller with it. The Moose clearing it to center. Roadrunners with it. Brian Straub. Brian Chapman feeding it along the boards. Knocked down. Now Dave Christian passing on to the left wing. That looked way offside. That looked about 2 strides offside, but there was no whistle. And the runners are going to clear this back to neutral ice. Newman leading it into the Roadrunner end. Gloved and sent out by Brian Straub. Loose at neutral ice. Brian Chapman. Now Dave Christian. Good feed at the Roadrunner blue line to the wrong player. Dan Bilesman intercepting that. Moran dropping it back into his own zone, lost it. Tomlinson shooting it across ice into the right wing corner. 1-1 game. Now Vachon taking a run. One Minnesota player. Puck is deflected into the corner. Brad Miller trying to clear. Nicholas Vachon spun around in the play, and out comes Minnesota with it. Into the Roadrunners zone, drop to the blue line, shot by Humanek, rebound, knocked away from O'Neill. Then Dan Curry backed into O'Neill and pushed him right out of the crease. We'll get an icing call here on Phoenix as the Roadrunners clear it. We'll take a break here on Prime with 4:22 remaining in the second period. 1-1 hockey game, 23 shots for Minnesota, 17 for the Roadrunners. You're watching the IHL on Prime.
When sports cream, when arms are sore, when legs ache, when muscles hurt. Why sports cream? Massaging sports cream in brings fast pain relief. No medicine-y smell, no odor. Why sports cream? Because it works.
Rich chocolate Ovaltine versus Nestle Quick.
My mother always had Nestle's Quick in the house. And I never tried Ovaltine before. This is the first time. Well, I was surprised. Without knowing it, I chose the Ovaltine Rich Chocolate. Chocolatey taste is excellent.
Rich chocolate Ovaltine is a different kind of Ovaltine, and its great taste will surprise you.
That's good. It's a good product. Knowing that Ovaltine Rich Chocolate has the vitamins and the nutrients, it's got great chocolatey taste, I'll be buying Ovaltine.
Rich chocolate Ovaltine.
The Minnesota Moose with its own publication, The Daily Moose, into statistics and all sorts of team facts. During the second intermission, we'll be talking to Ron Miniger of the Minnesota Moose about the marketing miracle that is the Minnesota Moose and the Moose Shopping Network, Dave.
All right, bud. Draw to the Roadrunners. Steve Wilson feeding it around the boards. Rob Brown clearing it. Yannick Perreault off his stick. That back into the Roadrunners zone. Over the stick. There's Snuggerud. Brown can't control it. Minnesota will bring it back. Stu Gavin had it knocked off his stick. We'll get an offside at the Minnesota, or at the Roadrunner blue line.
Merchandise, the most popular stuff on the planet. It's available in the concourse.
Stu Gavin.
Stopped by one of our official stores off the rack.
One of the leaders on this Minnesota Moose hockey team. One of the veterans we were talking about, too, with just a ton of experience. Now, Snuggerud. Snuggerud intercepted the puck in the slot. Got a great shot and opportunity on Mike O'Neill, and O'Neill with a big save. Yannick Perreault feeding it down into the Minnesota zone. 3:43 remaining in the second period. We're tied at 1. This puck will go the length of the ice, but it will come right in on goal, so there's no icing. Now Gavin had it deflect off his stick by Mike O'Neill. Yannick Perreault will get it to Steve Wilson. Wilson ahead on the play. Rob Brown knocked away. Yannick Perreault is offside with 3:21 remaining in the second period.
But both teams here have to remember right now, especially with 3 minutes left in the period, this ice here in Minnesota hasn't been down that long. It's been here for the second day, and that's it. The ice is going to be very chippy. They can't afford to make soft passes or carrying the puck too long. They've got to get it in, skate out over the red line, and dump it in. Don't try to make the fancy plays, because what's going to happen, it's going to hurt you. You're going to make a bad pass. It just showed there the Phoenix defenseman tried to make it up the middle. The puck rolled on because the ice is very chippy now.
3:18 remaining in the second. Phoenix with possession, dumping it into the Minnesota zone. 1-1 hockey game here at the Civic Center in St. Paul. Dave Tomlinson opened the scoring for Phoenix in the first period. And Dave Snuggerud tied it for the Minnesota Moose here in the second period of play. Minnesota has outshot the Roadrunners here in the second period by a margin of 13-6. Out to neutral ice. Brian Chapman with it. Chapman controlling. He'll feed it ahead to Vachon, and they say an offside pass, a two-line pass.
Stay in your seats during the
Like Chapman was right on the blue line.
Tonight it looks like the linesmen have called icing and offsides quite a bit tonight. They're not going to give you a break. You've got to be right over that line. You can't be right on it.
Hey, there's Mickey Moose out in the crowd. High-fiving everybody, trying to get to the goal judge. Little ice repair here at the Civic Center. Now look at here. Mickey Moose talking to the goal judge, trying to distract him. Is that what they do here in Minnesota?
Whatever it takes, I guess.
Whatever it takes. They have a good time. Michael Neal stopping it behind his own net. Roadrunners breaking out of their own zone. Dave Tomlinson. Now feed it down into the Minnesota end. Bilesma stopped it off Draper. Draper tried to clear, and he knocked it right onto Bilesma's stick. Here's Todd Hawkins. Down to Sean Williams. Back to Hawkins. Into the corner. Taken away by Wilson. He'll clear at the length of the ice, but no icing here. Could have been played. Hakstol going back to get it. He's out of the penalty box. He served his 5 minutes for fighting, along with Bezeau. Loose behind the Minnesota net. Taken here by Václav Nedomansky. Rob Brown was knocked down on the play. Brian McKee, cross-ice pass, and Perot couldn't get a stick on it. Now Brown wanted to center it. Hard check by Brad Miller on Nedomansky, and Nedomansky looks up to see who that was. 1:34 remaining in the period. Here's Minnesota 3-on-2, but it's intercepted by Brian McKee. He'll get it ahead to Perot. Down to Rob Brown. Brown racing after it into the right wing corner. Overskates it. Taken away by Chris Miller. Out to Brill. John Brill. Winger for the Moose. Lost it in front of the Roadrunner bench. 1:12 remaining in the period. 1-1 hockey game. The closing minute of the second period of play. Out to Chevalier. That's an offside pass right there. Two-liner. That was almost a three-liner. That came from behind the goal line.
Well, that's one of the things that, as being a coach, you would not want to see what happens. With a minute to play, making a two-line pass in your own zone.
Take a look at some of the hard hitting going on in the second period. There's Nedomansky taking the hard check from Brad Miller.
Yeah, during the second period, I think that the Moose played a lot better than the Roadrunners. They took the game away from them. They're first on the puck, and they win the one-on-one battle.
Yeah, this has been an excellent period for Minnesota. And Phoenix hasn't played a bad period here, but Minnesota has outplayed them.
1 minute remaining in the second period. 1 minute.
Here's Brian Chapman coming away with it. Chapman drops it off the neutral ice. Less than a minute to go. Moose to the Roadrunner blue line. Shot. O'Neill with a save. Picked off here by Dave Tomlinson. He'll clear it off the boards. Dean Kolstad grabbing it. Giving it up. Near side to Jumanek. Hard hit put on there by Bilesma. Dan Bilesma. The puck turned over. Christian had it knocked off his stick. Stefan Moran. Cross-ice pass. 23 seconds to go. Out in front. O'Neill with a save. 21 and a half seconds remaining here in the second period.
You don't want to give a goal in the last minute of the period, especially, after the kind of period that the Moose played. Like we said, they outplayed the Roadrunners the second period. You don't want to give them the lead going into the third period.
But Phoenix has to be feeling pretty good right now. It's a 1-1 hockey game. They have weathered a storm here. That's a deflection right in front of O'Neill. Great opportunity right there. Face-off in the Roadrunner zone. Very important face-off for Phoenix. 21 seconds to go in the second period. Stefan Moran will take the draw against Yannick Perot. And here's where the Roadrunners, miss a guy like Brian McReynolds, who can get a lot of face-offs for you. Draw will go back into the corner. Chapman leading it around the near boards. Perot doing a good job getting that face-off pass down in front, deflected away. And here's Tomlinson breaking out to the half time. 10 seconds remaining in the period. 2-on-1. Drive down the left side. Tomlinson coming in. Shot off the post. Rebound up over the net. 4 seconds to go. Tomlinson hit the post. And Straub's rebound try went up over the net. And that's how the second period comes to an end. How about that? Wow. 1-1 hockey game. We'll take a look at that final 10 seconds. Straub breaking down the left wing. He shoots the puck off the post. Straub looking for the rebound. Tapped it. Oh! Just missing.
Well, it's got to be something with these posts because yesterday they got, I don't know, 5 or 6, one more tonight. They're lucky for goaltenders.
1-1 game at the end of 2 periods of play. We got a great one going here at the Civic Center. You're watching the IHL on Prime.
Those guys are trying to do too much out there, and if they just use their head and be patient and kind of know some tricks, and it makes the game easier.
Well, a guy with all the experience that you have, Stu, would know that you can't take a night off in the International Hockey League, not with the competition at this level, and that makes it great to have a goaltender like Draper. It's too bad Peter Angelo is injured right now, but it's a great asset to have a guy like Draper in the nets.
Yeah, he's played real well for us. The start of the year, the team struggled in this past 20 games, so he's played extremely well, giving us points in games when we shouldn't have had points. And Dave Gagnon has backed up the team, and I think if we get our that 3 goaltenders, so we've got some good depth and at least goaltending.
You guys have done a great job here in Minnesota. We look forward to a great third period. You're a great asset to the league, Stu. Thanks for spending some time.
Thank you.
Stu Gavin's been our guest here, and the game, Hawkins sending it down into the Phoenix zone. Rob Brown with it. Rob Brown moving through neutral ice. Yannick Perreault checked into the boards. Back to Brown. Brown had it knocked off his stick. Brown maneuvers at the blue line to Perreault. Perreault shoots it off the side of the net. Tried to get a quick shot there on Draper on a very, very steep angle, and he didn't get all of it.
Well, you look at Perreault and listening to Stu Gavin out there in his interview after the second period, how he sees some guys in the NHL, and you look at Yannick Perreault there, 48 goals, and hasn't even really been given a true shot at playing NHL. The guy is still plugging away, and he's an asset to this league.
Pretty close. Both teams, when tied after 2 periods of play, it's been even like that all throughout this 2-game series, the second of 2 games. Phoenix won last night 2-1 in the shootout. Now tonight we're tied at 1 early on in the third period of play. Rob Brown for Phoenix. The veteran, Rob Brown, has a 21-game point scoring streak on the line here in this third period. Steve Wilson feeding it across ice. Minnesota controlling in their own zone. Out to neutral ice. And they'll go back and forth with it in front of the penalty box. Now Yannick Perreault. Pass on the left wing, Dave Tomlinson. He'll fire it on. Draper with a save. Stu Gavin will clear it the length of the ice. We'll get an icing call here on the Minnesota Moose. Icing on Minnesota with 18:24 remaining here in the hockey game. The veteran defenseman Dave Hakstol. Hakstol was out with an injury. He has just returned in this 2-game series. The captain of the Minnesota Moose hockey team. You can take a look at the stats from the second period. Shots on goal really in favor of Minnesota. That's what we talked about during the intermission, the great period of play that Minnesota had in that second period. Now Phoenix with control, shot right out in front, deflected down, and Tomlinson could not get control of the hockey puck. Now Christensen checking Vachon. Tomlinson. Milesma will send it behind the back, try to get it behind the Minnesota Moose net. Tomlinson fighting for it there. Out to the right point. Ryan Straub can't hold it in, and he'll chase it down in the Phoenix zone. Straub out to Tomlinson. Into the right wing corner. Draper leaves it for his defense. Brad Miller pushing it over onto the far side. Here's Stefan Moran. Can't find the puck. Taken away. Straub at the Minnesota blue line. Try to push it into the zone. Taken away. And now Moran will come as the Roadrunners change. Moran into the zone. Poked off his stick. And Edgerton will pick it up. Didn't clear it. Now it is cleared out. Back in neutral ice, Brad Miller will drop it back into his own zone.